Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Appropriate Audiences for the fall 2015 semester. I'm your host, Colin Coyle, and this week I'm joined by my friends Evan Jaguar and Matthew St. Ange. This week we took a trip to the movie theaters, as we usually do, and we saw Black Mass, starring Johnny Depp, giving the story of Whitey Bulger, one of the notorious criminals from South Boston. Going into the film, it was clearly a gangster crime type of biopic, and I had my thoughts. But being that this is a talk show, we're going to talk about it. So, guys, what were your opinions of the movie after seeing the trailer, before seeing the full movie?
After seeing the trailer, I was expecting something as intense as The Drop, which we've talked about on the show last year. I was expecting something really intense, and I think I got it.
It was definitely suspenseful. Matthew?
If I'm being honest, I feel like Johnny Depp made the movie.
Oh, absolutely.
I think
Hands
that
down.
from the start, I was prepared for him to blow this role out of the water, and I definitely think that he did.
One of my main thoughts going in was the trailer, I think, might have been better than the movie in a way, because the trailer made it look like this was going to be Oscar contention. Johnny Depp's winning an Oscar. This movie's going to knock your boots off, knock you down, pick you back up, and tell you you'll be right back. Like, it seemed like it was going to be phenomenal. Me, personally, I feel like the movie, after seeing it, which is what we're going to get into, I was a little underwhelmed, to be honest. What were your guys' opinion seeing the movie?
I enjoyed it for probably different reasons than other people. For me, one of the biggest parts of the movie is that I didn't realize it was Johnny Depp. That's the biggest takeaway I got from the movie, that he can get completely lost in a role, and I think it was a great performance by him.
Oh, hands down. I think one of the best recently that Johnny Depp's given us. It's about time he plays something other than a drunken bisexual pirate.
Absolutely. I feel like while the movie didn't exactly do it for me, Johnny Depp did do it.
Yeah.
I think the acting is what really carried this film.
If there's going to be an Oscar out of this movie, I think it's for Johnny Depp.
I also feel like it's clear that Johnny Depp assassinated the role, but I don't think he was in the movie enough, honestly. I felt like the main FBI agent seemed to be the centerpiece of the story. Like, he was what drove it, and I feel like Johnny Depp didn't get enough screen time.
Yeah, I definitely got that vibe. It was more of an ensemble cast than there was one leading man or two leading men. It really was just a bunch of solid players playing together.
One actor who I do feel like they completely underutilized was in the movie Whitey's brother, the state senator, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, who last year was nominated for the Oscar for his role as Alan Turing.
Yes.
And I feel like he was not really in it at all. That dude's got an impressive acting pedigree, and he was completely underutilized.
Yeah, he just got a bit part in this movie.
I was surprised.
It was really surprising.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think that the ensemble role here really kind of took over the film. I feel like they shied away from what were the strong suits of the film, being that Johnny Depp was their lead man, and that they actually made a couple really impressive budget moves, in my opinion, particularly...
That is so impressive that you took that from this movie. You are a professional. I would. They saved some money there.
The first thing I looked at, and it has to be Fat Damon.
Oh, Fat Damon.
Fat Damon.
Fat Damon. For those of you who haven't seen the movie or just don't get irony and clever witticisms, Fat Damon was played. He was the right-hand man, the enforcer, if you will, for Whitey in the movie, Whitey Bulger. He was the dude who did his dirty work, and he looked as if Matt Damon went 12 rounds in the ring and then grew out his hair. Like, he was Fat Damon, and I feel like that. I want to think, at least in being a film nerd at heart, I want to think that it was maybe an homage to just Matt Damon being from Boston. Like, we should have Fat Damon from Southie.
The whole movie, it wasn't until afterwards that I realized that it wasn't actually Matt Damon.
The first time he was on screen, I completely thought, oh my God, Matt Damon's in this movie.
Yeah,
and then I was like, no, this is Fat Damon.
My mind was blown. I actually, when I first saw him, I thought, wait a minute, how did it slip past me that Matt Damon was part of this cast?
Exactly.
I was like, all I heard about was Johnny Depp.
You almost got to feel bad for that actor, who in real life is unfortunately not Matt Damon. So
Whose
he has
name
very
none of us
limited
know.
roles.
Whose name none of us know as well.
Oh
funny
my
enough.
God, yeah. And if you are the actor who portrayed Fat Damon and you're watching the show, A, that's impressive, and B, we're really sorry if we got that wrong. So you were talking about the budget. For some reason, you were talking about how the film saved money. And I do understand where you're coming from. There weren't a lot of exaggerated set pieces. The movie was filmed on location, which brings me to the point I wanted to talk about, was a lot of people took issue with the fact that the movie was saying, based on a true story, which it obviously was, but a lot of the interviews I was reading about people involved in the real life were taking a attack at the movie for picking and choosing details, crafting a story suitable to film. So what I wanted to ask you guys was, does that bother you at all if a movie is promoted as real life and it clearly looks like things are cut out just for the sake of chronology?
You really can't blame them because anything that's based on a true story, it's not going to be 100% accurate unless it's a documentary. And even documentaries, they cherry pick what they want to show.
That's for certain, yeah.
So I think you really can't blame the filmmakers for picking and choosing, just cherry picking the most intense moments or the most important things. But I think the way that they did it was tactful. It was very, very well executed, in my opinion.
I also feel like, while it is a little bit of a shady technique, we'll say, to pick and choose what you want to portray, it's also kind of necessary because if you look at things, the story of a crime lord in southern Boston is not something that you can portray in full. There are some things that just don't make the TV screen there.
And a life like that doesn't lend itself to a nice little bow tie of story arc.
Exactly.
So what we're going to do is take a break from this riveting conversation. We're going to send it over to one of our impressive segments. I'm talking like people love it. Trailer Trash. Everybody take a look at this week's episode. Woo. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Trailer Trash. I'm happy to be here. Hope you are, too. The only problem is I had to just watch a trailer for this. The Last Witch Hunter, starring none other than, you guessed it, but Vin Diesel. What a fool. The man looks like a gorilla got an extra chromosome, and boy, does he not disappoint in his latest feature that doesn't involve cars for once. This time he plays a witch hunter, and it is his job to look off into the distance all melancholy while also assassinating witches. Oh, man, the problem is there's nothing original about this movie. How many movies come out a year and there's a witch in it and you got to kill the witch? The only difference is this time it's going to be Vin Diesel doing it with a blank expression on his face. If you want to see this movie, you're probably the type of person who, A, still puts coloring artwork on the refrigerator at age 25, and B, probably thinks all this is happening for real. Because, look at this. Look at this. It's Vin Diesel staring blankly holding a sword. That's a third of his resume. So there's really no reason to go see it, but it infuriated me to just watch it because studios don't even care anymore. They'll just put out anything. This script, I wouldn't be shocked if he sneaks a writing credit in towards the end of this film. Vin Diesel, that is. Who, yeah, he can write and read. It's a surprise. But we're back, baby. We're back at Trailer Trash. We're going to watch a lot of movies that infuriate you, and we're going to break them down. And this is just the start. This is bad, but it's only going to get worse. For Trailer Trash, I'm Colin Coyle. Thank you, Colin, for Trailer Trash. That was good. Definitely don't want to see that movie. So we were talking about Black Mass. We were talking about historical accuracy in the film. Now that we've seen it, just I want to get like your general critique of the film. What did you take away?
Blanking right now.
We'll come back, Matthew.
All right. Well, I discovered that Whitey Bulger may as well have been a portrayal of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I found that
you're an original OG.
Absolutely. I ran Boston for the first 17 years of my life. Then
Okay.
I came to Rider University. So Whitey Bulger is my alternate personality. I found it really interesting to watch essentially what amounted to a documentary about me
Okay.
with Fat Damon in it.
So essentially, the uses and gratification model in media theory is what you took out of watching the movie, that you used to be a crime lord in South
Couldn't
Boston.
agree more.
I understand. Evan?
I feel like you were just talking a different language.
Thank you. Personally, I felt like the movie, it felt a little contrived, in my opinion. It felt like the pacing wasn't always there, and sometimes it felt like they were just kind of mocking Goodfellas a little bit. Like, I kind of kept expecting Whitey to just be like, how am I funny? Funny like a clown? Like, I kept waiting for him to just say that. Like, some of the scenes felt a little forced, like very gangster movie-ish, like they acknowledged what they were doing. But all in all, it was a very good film. I think a little underwhelming. It didn't necessarily generate the buzz that I was expecting, and so far I saw that it hasn't even made its money back yet at the box office. So after seeing the film, hearing what we have to say, we're professionals. We went and we watched it. My opinion, if I'm recommending it to a friend, I would say wait until it comes out on Netflix or Blockbuster if you live in a rural area, because I don't think it's really worth the $11.50, whatever it is nowadays. Evan, what's your advice?
I would definitely agree. I would say wait till it's on Netflix. I wouldn't rush to see it in a theater, but it's definitely a solid movie.
I would have to go even further with that and say you don't really got to see it.
Oh,
if
wow.
I'm being completely honest.
Oh, wow, that's a plot twist.
It was extremely underwhelming.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a movie that retired couples would go see because it looks interesting. But I don't think it has
believe
the
at the
appeal.
theater there were at least two. that we saw
Oh,
it.
by far. If you were to combine all of our ages between the areas of 19 and 21, we were still at least 70 years younger than everyone else in the theater, which was pretty bad. Yeah, a lot of grandmoms brought in their own food during that film.
Let the record show there were not many other people in that theater.
No, it were not. So there you have it for the first episode of Appropriate Audiences for this semester. This week we reviewed Black Mass. We will review a different film, and we will be back. So I hope you stick on board because we love you guys. We love our fans, and we'll be back. I'm your host, Colin Coyle. Thanks to Evan, and thanks to Matthew. Signing off.